Khalil, I'm glad to see you here again after we meet in Yerevan, and thank you for agreeing to talk to me.
Good evening. That's a pleasure to me as well to meet you here again and to have a good conversation this evening.
Uh, so let's start with the current situation in the world. How can assess it from the Iranian point of view?
You know, everything is in transition. We are witnessing an emerging world order with many new features and characteristics, while the new order is not established yet. But there are many evidences that the new world order is coming, and there are new features for this new coming world, which is the diversity and diversification of many players which are emerging. And among them is the new regional agencies. First of all, that regions are important and regions matter now. And the fact that there are also new blocs emerging that are having weight on international affairs. You can see the three major narratives. The emerging narrative is the narrative of the global south, that many countries who have been involved as the global south, they are gonna assert more weight on international relations for a more just and more diversified international and global order. You have the Western narratives, and you have also the other narrative. Somehow you can make it maybe as the Eastern narrative, mostly characterized by the wills and ideas of China and Russia. So these are the features of this emerging world order. The fact that, unfortunately, the miserable fact that we have been witnessing also is the erosion of international norms and principles. You need that many of the norms and international regulations have been encompassed by many, negative phenomena that has emerged. And by the way, the other miserable fact is that some of the countries who have been by self-proclamation the father founders of the norms and regulations, they are the very first breakers of the regulations. So it's a very dynamic atmosphere, and still there are also debates that whether there is any order yet or not, but it is still under transition and there are many uncertainties, and it's an ongoing process which is not established yet.
And what's the role of Iran has in this process? And how do you see Iran as a player in these events, in this world which transforms very quickly?
Iran defines itself among the narrative of the global south. We believe that some of the structures of the current international system should change in benefit of having a more just and more diversified and pluralistic international order, so that many other voices need to be heard within the emerging world order. We think that hegemonic narrative should be removed from the world stage. No country can claim to be a hegemon in international politics. There are equity of the voices, every voice should be heard, and the exclusive approach uh, should be also removed, and we need to have an inclusion approach that would include everybody, every party, every country, and every region. This is the only narrative that could be the potential solution for the upcoming international politics and international order.
Uh, like for many observers that say now that Iran compromised itself, can we say that this alliance of resistance was broken?
Practically,
I mean, with
it
the
is,
with
yeah,
the with the
yeah.
killing of
Yeah, we
Hezbollah,
cannot,
Hamas,
yeah,
and
we cannot,
leaders.
sure, we cannot ignore the fact that practically they have faced many damages, both Hezbollah and Hamas as resistant groups. But the point is that the cause is not something to be removed. What is important is that the very essence of establishment of these resistant groups is the very logic of resistance against the occupation. And you cannot destroy a cause. Maybe you can destroy a group or part of a group, but you can never destroy a cause or an ideal. They are there because of the fact that there is occupation there. And as long as occupation persists, the resistance persists. So there are some, discourses saying that the resistant groups are gone and they cannot be back to the scene, while the fact is that as long as there is occupation and there is subjugation of the Palestinian people and some other countries around, there will be resistance. And even if you remove one single group, another group will substitute because the cause still persists.
Yeah, I agree with you, absolutely. And with Iran, with agreement in nuclear weapons, now the all attention also is attracted to the negotiations between USA and Iran in this particular problem. So, can you give some insights how negotiations are going on?
I think there should not be any deadlock in diplomacy due to the fact that if the American side is genuine enough in this negotiation process, there should be a solution out of this negotiation process. Iran is not looking for, developing nuclear weapons or acquiring nuclear weapons. The United States is claiming that they have the same idea or that they have the same goal that Iran never obtains nuclear weapons. If that's the case and they are serious enough and genuine enough about what they are saying, there should not be any deadlock in diplomacy because it's a common idea and common goal. In that sense, we should proceed with the negotiations based on the fact that there are two important pillars involved. There are two important pillars for any kind of potential agreement. First, there should be assurances that Iran will never go for developing nuclear weapons. And Iran's right also for having and enjoying a peaceful nuclear technology. Based on this, there should be some mechanisms, including the verification mechanisms that could help make other countries, confident that Iran's nuclear program will never go for any sort of acquiring or developing nuclear weapons. The second pillar is the fact that in return for all these assurances, the sanctions against Iran, which have been the illegitimate sanctions, not internationally recognized sanctions, but unilateral sanctions by the United States should be removed. These two important pillars, they are quite important if you're gonna have an agreement. And if the American side is genuine enough for having a solution, the solution is on the table.
Okay, thank you. I see. And what is your thoughts about your neighbor Syria? We know that Iran was among the countries guarantors of the Astana process.
Yeah.
So, me personally, as an observer of this peace process, I was enjoying to see, Iran and Turkey, like belonging to the different branches of Islam, not fight, but sitting together on the negotiation table. I was happy to see Orthodox Russia, to see them sitting together, and also Turkey as a NATO member and Russia as its rivalry, also could find the common language during the Astana process. And the result of this, I will never like to be tired to repeat, that the main result was to stop the bloodshed, what was in Syria, and start to negotiate between fighting parties. And also it was like, in my meaning, no, in my understanding, it was like putting aside the Western influence to resolve our regional problem by ourselves. So my question is, how do you see the situation in Syria, what's happened in Syria? And if there is any possibility for the Astana process to restart again?
Yeah. The unfortunate fact is that our region has been, for a long time, has been the theater for confrontation and great power, rivalries between great powers involved in the region. And there should be a paradigm shift in how we are going to manage the differences between different countries in the region without the intervention of the foreign agents and foreign actors. In Syria, what is in dire need is the fact that there should be a political process in which there could be an inclusive government there in Syria that would include every ethnicity, every group and every religion. Syria is a very diversified society, and every part of the society and Syrian community should be involved in having, a political establishment. The only realistic approach that would resolve the problems and challenges in Syria is an inclusive approach. Based on that, and the fact that also the territorial integrity of Syria is also quite important for us. You know that unfortunately part of the Syrian territory is under occupation of the Israelis. And now they have occupied much bigger part of Syria than the Golan Heights that was the case before. These are quite important factors. And the regional countries, including Turkey, which influences a great deal of influence in Syria, Iran, Iraq, others can help for having some sort of reconciliation process in Syria that would bring about an inclusive democratic government in the country with the participation of all ethnics, all religions, and all parts of the society. Based on that, yeah, a political process like the Astana process, even with the same format, maybe could be helpful for bringing about that political reconciliation into the country. Iran's policy so far has been wait and see. We are not in a hurry. We are waiting and see what is happening in Syria. If we can help with regard to the inclusive government, with regard to preserving the territorial integrity of Syria, we are ready. Meanwhile, we are not in a hurry not to make any misunderstanding.
Thank you. And Iran became a member of Shanghai Security Organization. So how do you think the role of Iran? Why Iran wanted to join this organization? What's the purpose?
You know, one of the important features of the ongoing international order is the establishment of the new coalitions and new organizations and entities that would be based on the common interests and common goals of the parties involved. And Shanghai Cooperation Organization is among them and one of the most important ones, having important players like China, Russia, India on board. Based on that, we think that Shanghai Cooperation Organization can play even bigger role with regard to the stability of the regions involved in the Asia and Eurasia, and also to bring about some common ground for furthering the development processes in the region, which is the prerequisite and precondition for having a durable, stable region both in Asia and also in Eurasia. We think that Shanghai can even play a more meaningful role in future, and Iran is also an important partner to that, and we are prioritizing our membership both in Shanghai and both in BRICS, which we are hopeful that they will play even bigger role in future of the world politics.
What do you think about Eurasian Economic Union?
With regard to the Eurasian Economic Union, that one is also important, platform for synergizing the potentials of the countries involved in Eurasia, in the Caucasus, and part of the Central Asia, due to the fact that if they come together, they go for tariff cuts, they go for some joint connectivity projects or corridor projects, they will heighten their potentials in a way that it would benefit all of them. And Eurasian Economic Union is also important potential for the future of the countries involved in Eurasia for, a durable and sustainable development in future.
Do you know, it's interesting. Lately, around 1 year ago, the Iranian products started to be sold in our shops.
Oh, really?
So maybe like almost recently, I saw some chocolates
Okay.
or sweets or biscuits produced in Iran in very beautiful boxes, with
Ah.
beautiful decoration. So I bought it and I tried the Iranian chocolate
Ah.
first time in
Interesting.
my
You
life.
liked it? Okay.
Yes, I like it a lot,
Okay.
and I really was happy. I was glad because for me this chocolate, it was like, it's a signal of Iran's openness that we are neighbors. We are interconnected. We
You're
should
right.
communicate. We should trade. We don't have to fight to each other.
You are right.
We have to eat the chocolate of each other. By the way,
You're right.
we also have a chocolate, Kazakhstani chocolate.
Interesting. Yeah.
I will gift it to you
It's
later.
interesting. The concept of connectivity and economic interdependence is the solution for having a sustainable economic development in the region that would benefit all of us. Our economies could complement each other. You have some potentials that we don't, and we have potentials that you don't have. So these should be connected and interwoven in a way that it would benefit all of us and bring about even more welfare and economic development for the whole region and for our nations. So that's very good news that we have this kind of
Yeah, exactly.
new interactions, hopefully. Yeah, thank you.
exactly. And the last question, what do you think about BRICS perspectives?
BRICS is also important platform for the world economy to emerge. Of course, there is not consensus about what BRICS is about and what should be the goals and objectives of BRICS for future. There are different players. Some of them have different ideals and different goals with regard having membership to BRICS. Meanwhile, there is something in common that BRICS is there because there has been something wrong. What has been wrong is the fact that there has been some sort of hegemony-centered international economic system, and based on that fact, there should be some, new mechanisms in which all parties could also have their voices heard. And BRICS is the most important platform for the world economy to emerge. Still, it's not so much well established, but in future, I think the potentials are much greater, and the countries involved would bring many of their potentials as an input to the BRICS and BRICS agenda and mandate that would help it even further strengthen in future. So BRICS is among those new phenomena in international economic system that will have greater voices in coming years, I think.
Thank you. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you so much. Thank
I
you
like
so
your
much.
Iranian chocolate.
Kazakhstan. Wow,
So
beautiful.
Let
Beautiful.
me
Wow,
to give this
beautiful.
gift and please try our
I will.
Kazakhstani chocolate.
And also the flag of your
Yeah.
country,
Yeah.
the blue, beautiful blue, also here. Yeah.
The sky
Thank
blue.
you so much. The
Thank
sky
you.
blue. Thank you so much.